Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited about this video because we're talking about infrastructure as code, and not just infrastructure as code, but managing infrastructure as code at a scale. Obviously, a very spoken about topic. I see it all the time when I'm traveling at conferences, KubeCon, along with people talking about like security and eBPF and whatnot. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I am going to structure this video into three parts, and the three parts are how you can solve the top three common challenges faced in managing infrastructure as code. We'll learn more about it in this video. I've also added timestamps so you can easily navigate through the video. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for future videos, advanced topics, concepts, projects, let me know in the comment section below. Let's get started. Now, before we get started, I want to share a bit more about env0. Of course, we're going to be using it for the hands-on demo. It's a very powerful platform that is designed to streamline and automate the management of infrastructure as code. It enables organizations to efficiently provision, deploy, and manage their cloud environments while maintaining compliance and governance. By managing and you're managing your infrastructure as code and leveraging env0, teams can achieve automated workflows, ensuring consistent infrastructure setups, and also minimizing human error. In this video, I'll share some real-world examples of how things went south when people did not take these things into consideration. And here you can learn more about on the website as well. And I'll leave some links in the description below as well for you to check out. Additionally, env0 also empowers users with managed self-service capabilities, allowing individual team members to create and manage their environments within set organizational policies. Now, this approach not only enhances agility, but also enforces governance through role-based access control and policy enforcement, making it an essential tool for modern cloud infrastructure management. Top three challenges, let's talk about it and how env0 solves it, and also what happens if you ignore that. Okay, so let's start with the first challenge, which is infrastructure as code automation. Now, if you're new to this concept, think of infrastructure as code as a way to manage and provision the computing infrastructure through machine-readable configuration files rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. I did a video like a few years ago on infrastructure as code. You can check it out. It's still very popular. In simple terms, I would like to say that imagine you're setting up a new office. So instead of physically placing furniture and equipment, you have a detailed blueprint that anyone can follow to set up the office exactly the same way that you like. That's what infrastructure as code does for your cloud infrastructure. So you just give that blueprint and it's like, okay, I need these many servers, I need this database, I need this many cluster, I need it in this region, this is the size, and it will do everything for you. Cool. Okay. Kunal, that's fine, but what is the problem with infrastructure as code automation? Well, we're talking about automation. So the main problem with infrastructure as code is the manual effort involved in maintaining these configurations. You're like, okay, this is my configuration. Here you go. I need it. Like all the things that I mentioned, like a recipe for a dish, for example. But the problem lies in the manual effort that is involved in maintaining these configurations. It's like, the office example that I took. It's like you're updating that office blueprint every time you want to move a desk or add a new workstation. This can be very time consuming and like error prone as well. In like a few years ago, there was an AWS outage in, I think, 2017, and it was actually caused, you can Google this, by a human error during a manual configuration change. So one wrong command led to like hours of downtime for many companies. And this is exactly the kind of issue that infrastructure as code aims to prevent. But without automation, you are still at risk of human error. So make sure you keep that in mind. All right, that was infrastructure as code automation. Now let's move on to challenge number 2, which is managed self-service. Now developers, they only want to focus on, writing code. They don't want to work with the Kubernetes clusters and YAML files and infrastructure or whatnot, and constantly, bugging the IT team to, set these things up for them. They're like, okay, I just need Redis. I just need MySQL. I don't want to work with all this jargon. I don't have that time. which is fair. This is why you're seeing many companies, who are doing, who's focusing on the developers, working with Kubernetes, simplifying Kubernetes, providing a lot of abstraction, doing a bunch of things. And I think in the future, we're going to see more of that. But anyway, let's talk about managed self-service. It's all about empowering your teams to manage their own infrastructure without needing constant help from the IT department. Now, imagine you're a large company, you're a very large company, let's say you're completely remote. What's a good example? Let's say you're at a picnic. Some companies have like their offsite. So let's say you're at a large company picnic, and there's this one person who is in charge of handling all the food. Okay, they have given one person responsibility of all the food at the picnic. What will happen? The line would be endless, and it will take forever for everyone to get their meal. That's what it's like when every request for infrastructure changes has to go through a central IT team. There was a case of Knight Capital Group in 2012. Yeah, and there was a misconfigured server that led to a $440 million trading loss in how many minutes? In just 45 minutes, because there was no proper self-service or governance in place. Now that's news, you know. So yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about in this second segment. And how does env0 solve managed self-service? Good question. All right, finally, let's talk about challenge number 3, which is teams and governance. How do I put this? It's essentially about making sure that all the different teams in your organization can work together effectively while complying with the policies and regulations, all the rules of your organization. Might not be evident if you're just like a 5-person team, you're a startup, your main focus is like, okay, we don't have a proper department for this or that, it's fine. But as the company grows, you will see that the need grows as well. I still recommend having these things from day one. But for some people, like, yeah, it's not really a priority on day one. But what's the problem here? What's the problem with governance? Well, without proper governance, it's like you're trying to play football or soccer if you're American, without any rules or referees. Chaos is ensured. I know this because that's how we used to do it in high school back in India. No rules, nothing. Everyone just rushing towards the ball and just doing whatever. And nothing got done efficiently. And in the tech world, lack of governance can lead to, well, there are security vulnerabilities, compliance issues, wasted resources that oftentimes will lead to an expensive cloud bill. And you're like, okay, we're not using these resources, but we're paying for it. Check out my cloud cost monitoring tutorials for that. A good example is the Facebook data breach in 2019. They have been in the news, Meta, for a while now, and all the the big tech companies as well. And poor governance and lack of control over who had access to what data led to millions of users' information being exposed. You can Google this and read the whole report on it. So yeah, we're going to use env0. We're going to see how we can use env0 to solve teams and governance. So let's get started. All right, so how does env0 solve infrastructure as code automation? Well, first of all, env0 automates the entire process of managing and provisioning your infrastructure. So for example, you can give env0 your blueprints, and it sets up the infrastructure automatically. It also ensures consistency. So every environment is set up exactly the same way every time. And it also reduces human error. So by automating repetitive tasks, you actually minimize the risk for mistakes. You can learn more about it on their website. You can go through the documentation and everything. So here's the thing. env0 provides managed self-service capabilities, and it allows your team to provision their own environments. So team members can actually create and manage their own infrastructure. It also allows them to stay within the guardrails, meaning that all the environments comply with your organization's policies and standards. Most of the time, they go to the IT department because, okay, we don't want to give them this access or that access or whatever. And because there's, you're staying within the guardrails, it also improves agility, meaning teams can quickly spin up or tear down environments as needed. I like this web page, more autonomy and less risk. And how env0 addresses these issues is, well, they provide role-based access control, ensuring that only the right people have access to specific environments. Uh, they also enforce policies. So automatically you can apply policies to ensure that compliance within the industry standards. And all in all, it also offers visibility. So you can gain insights into, let's say you have a large team or department, so you can actually see who is doing what across your entire infrastructure. Okay, so there's that visibility as well. And you can obviously catch issues before the issues hit production, and you can check out some, customer feedback here as well. But you can read that on the website. Again, the links can be found in the description. Let me give you a demo. All right, so let's get started with the demo. And what we're going to do is we're going to see a demo with cloud providers. We're going to install using Helm, Terraform, see how env0 integrates and makes it pretty simple for us to manage everything from one place. But before that, we need to create a project. And I'll show you what templates are in just a minute. So basically, you can use these various projects, tie it in with your version control system like GitHub or GitLab or whatever. And we'll see that in just a minute. But before that, let's create a project. I'm going to give it a name, env0 demo. And I'm going to give it a description, which is optional, but you can, you should follow all the best practices. So it's just a project to demo EKS deployment and configuration with services like Grafana and Prometheus. I'm going to click on create project. That's going to take a few seconds. It should be done now. Cool. Now we see that our project is created. And what we need to do now is that if we want to run this project, we have to create templates. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to templates. And here you can see, we can see manage templates. But before even we manage templates, you have to have some templates to manage. Right now we don't have anything. So we're going to go to our organization. We make devs. I'm going to click on the organization name. And here you can see that now you can select on templates. Right now it looks empty. It says no templates found for the organization. I'm going to say click on new template. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create a template for Terraform. I'm going to give it a name, env0 EKS template. You can give it a description. This will deploy EKS cluster. And you can click on some advanced settings like the Terraform version and things like that. I'm going to click on next. Now it's going to ask me where the files are stored essentially. It's the single source of truth. So all my Terraform configurations are in this GitHub repository. And obviously it's a GitHub repository, so I'm going to give it a branch, like with branch the Terraform configurations are, and also in which folder my Terraform configurations are. So I'm going to click on, write the folder name, and I'm going to just click on next. Now you can provide a bunch of environment variables, your Terraform variables if you want to configure. We're not using anything to keep things simple, so I'm just click on next. Now, this is a template. Where do I want to create this deployment? Which project? So the project that I just created, env0 demo. I'm going to click on done. And it says that my template is now created. Pretty cool. Let me actually show you what the code is all about. So the env0 Terraform code that I'm using as a part of this demo, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Go to my repositories, and here I can find env0 demo. Here I have the Terraform folder. As you can see, this is what I wrote in the field. And here I have my folder. So in the main.tf file, you can see my simple, name of the cluster and things like that. I can go to EKS module main.tf. So this basically shows how it's configured, and yeah, versions and a bunch of other things, add-ons, whatever you need. This can be depending on how you want to create it. It doesn't have to be specific to this demo. Other than that, it's the same thing for your outputs and your variables. So this is basically our configuration. Now, to the main part. We're back in our dashboard. This is done. Now, what do we need to do? I'm going to go back to my organization. and I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to add in some credentials because we are using EKS, so we need the access keys for my account when we run our configuration. So I'm going to write in my credential name, access key, and I'm going to give it the key, and I'm going to give it a secret. So I'm just going to fetch it from my dashboard. You can't see it on the screen, but this is going to depend on you. You can find it in your project's dashboard. That's my secret key. I'm going to add it, and it says that the credential has been created, so that looks good. Okay, so we're going to go back to the project, and I'm going to go to the project, click on the project name. Now when I go to templates, you can see that I have one template created. But when we go to the project, we have to go to settings and we have to go to credentials. So we have to add the credential that I just created, and I'm just going to add that. I'm going to click on save. That should take a few seconds. That should be done. Cool. Now go back to templates, run the template. Very simple. I can give it a command. I can give the workspace name if I want to, target resources. You can set the TTL as well, like destroy the environment after this much amount of time. You can add in your variables and configure all sorts of things. Disk detection, you can approve the plan automatically, meaning the deployment will be approved automatically based on the plan. I'm just going to click on run and you'll see what happens. It's pretty cool. Deployment logs, you can see that it's queued, so it's starting now. Git clone, so it's starting from cloning the Git repository. And now you can see get working directory, loading the env YAML file, loading the variables. It's you can see it's if it's present, so env0 YAML file, if it's present, we don't have it, so it didn't fetch it. So setting the version, right now you can see it's setting the workplace, so that's done. Actually it's tagging the resources, that is also done. Terraform plan, you can see it's waiting for approval. So now you can see that you can review the whole plan. If you want to create something, you want to review something, you can do that. And once it's finished, I can either cancel it or I can approve it. Now you can see that it's done. So I can actually, yeah, you can also see the cost. So if you run these services, what's the monthly cost that you're going to spend? So that's also pretty cool. Let's say that we like it, so we're going to approve it. That looks good. So now it's going to go with a Terraform apply, and we're going to have the deployment ready. So all the services will be spinning on my cloud. So while that is running, what I'm going to do is parallelly you can, well, this is going to be configured on its own. So we can just go back. That's going to be handled on its own. So in this demo, we're going to also run Grafana and Prometheus. For that, I'm going to click on a new template. So this time, instead of Terraform, we're going to do Helm. So I'm going to click on new template. I'll just say env Grafana template. You can give it a description as well. You can create multiple templates if you want. You can see there's Pulumi as well. There's Kubernetes as well. OpenTofu as well, but it's pretty cool. So this will set up Grafana in EKS cluster. I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to actually use a Helm repo, not a GitHub repo. So you can just use the Grafana repository. So I'm just going to go to Artifact Hub. By the way, you can find all the links in the description below. Just search for Grafana. And here I have the Grafana Helm chart. I'm going to click on the link. And you can also select on the versions, like whatever versions you want to fetch. So let's say we click on this link, and I just add it in the repository, and I can click on the version 8.4.9 Helm chart name. I can just give it Grafana. Click on next. Environment variables and stuff, I'm just going to click on next. Which project do I want to add this template in? I'm going to select my env0 demo project, and I'm going to click on create, and this is done. Should refresh shortly. Cool. Right now I'm not going to deploy it because I'm going to wait for the previous configuration to be set. I can actually create more templates. So now I'm going to create Prometheus. So let's say env0 Prometheus. And I can give it a description as well. This will set up my Prometheus The spelling's always, Prometheus spelling you always get wrong in the EKS cluster. I'm not going to select anything advanced, but let's just move ahead with next. Again, we're going to click on Git Helm repository. Again, I can search for Prometheus. Here we go. Oh, spelling, yep, there you go. Similarly, like we did for Grafana, I'm going to click on this, just copy this link and the version, paste it. Version, I will paste it. Helm chart name, I'll just give it Prometheus. Click on next. Environment variables, I'm just going to skip that. Again, select which project I want to use this in. Then I should have total 3 templates now. Here we go. By the way, you can also create environments specific to these projects. Cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to projects. I'm going to see how is it being deployed right now. It's still running since 2 minutes. Once this is being created, I can perform my future operations. It's been running for like 3 minutes now. So we're just going to wait for that to happen. Cool. Cluster is running now. As you can see, deployment is done. You can check the resources, deployment logs and everything. You can see success, no errors, completed, everything looks good. I can go back to my templates now and I'm going to run this Prometheus template first. Give the release a name. Let's just give it a Prometheus name, namespace. Let's keep it default. I can add in a comment. You can skip it if you want. This will basically set up Prometheus, destroy environment, disabled. I'm just going to run it. And again, you will be able to see the logs. Here you're going to see an error because if we go back to the settings, here you see what happens. We didn't actually add the credential. So we go back to the project. I go to my settings. I go to the credentials, add in my credential. Now I have to add in my configuration credential because my env0 is communicating with my cluster, right? So we have to add in I have to add in proper credentials. So for example, this is the cluster name that I'm using and the region in which the cluster is. I'm going to add it. So this credential is now added. Let's try to go back to my project. Deployment, I'm going to go back to my credential, use my credential, this credential I'm using, save it. And now the credential is tied to this project. That is done. Go back to my template. I can run it again, give it a release name, give it a deployment comment. This will set up Prometheus, run this. Now we'll be able to see deployment logs again. Cool, success. Helm diff, progressing, waiting for approval. That looks good. I will approve this. It's so simple. It's too easy, Now Prometheus is going to be deployed in our cluster via Helm. Just some final steps. This is looking good. Installing it now. Okay, that is done. Prometheus is done. Cool. You can check your deployment logs. This is done. And you can see Prometheus is also configured. Cool. Pretty simple stuff. Now, go back to template. I'm going to go for Grafana. I'm going to run Grafana, release name Grafana. I'm going to give it, this will set up Grafana. And I'm going to click on run. Similarly, you'll be able to see deployment logs. Success. This is all looking good. It's going to ask me for approval. Click on approve. That's looking good. Cool. In the challenges I mentioned, like when you're working with infrastructure, there's like differentiation in terms of, what the single source of truth is. So I think this is really handy. From here, what you can also do is you can connect with the, you can use this command that you can see in initialize to use the cluster. I'm going to click, just run this command. Now I have changed my context. By the way, this is WAP, the AI terminal. You can use this. Checking how many nodes we have. I'm going to go back. This is all looking good. This is nicely deployed. What you can also do is, if everything is running, you can just click on kubectl get all and to see if everything is up and running nicely. Okay, so here you can see we have Grafana, Prometheus. It's all running. I don't see anything that's wrong. You can also check the status of Grafana, Helm status, and here you can see that there's this command, which is a secret, meaning which the secret is we need to log into my Grafana dashboard. I'm going to do kubectl get services as well. Here you can see Prometheus is running. Grafana is also running. Age you can see as well. Grafana is running on port 80, so that's what we're going to be use to just port forward. So I'm just going to copy this command, fetch my secret as well. So this is my password. And now I'm going to do kubectl port forward. As you can see, it gave me like a suggestion. So you can use the WAP AI terminal. Your links can be found in the description below. I'm going to map 8000 with port 80. Click on this command, and now I'm going to open this in the localhost. Copy my password because I'll need that to log in. Localhost 3000. Oh, 8000. And login, it's going to ask me for my password. Admin, my password that I got from that. Login. Lovely. So Grafana is running. Very cool stuff. How simple was that? You can do a bunch of stuff. You can check you can add a data source like the Prometheus one that we have running. So here I can just give it the Prometheus server link. Save and test. Here you can see it's up and running. Pretty cool stuff. Very seamless. And I did all of this via env0. You can explore if you want. Do a bunch of stuff. If you're new to Grafana Prometheus monitoring, you can actually check out the monitoring series that we did. We covered a bunch of stuff in that, where we go through all of these open source projects as well, like Prometheus. You can run a query. As you can see, our queries are running, and yeah, everything is looking good. Alright, so that was about this video. To recap, we learned how env0 can help you with automating your infrastructure as code, providing managed self-service capabilities, enhancing teams and governance. If you want to look at some real-world case studies, I would highly recommend doing that after watching this video and playing around with env0. I'll leave the links in the description below for the website, but you can see that many companies have successfully implemented env0 to streamline their operations, and big tech companies, like very big companies, like for example, you'll find case studies for Western Union, Virgin Media, ActiveFence, Pleo, which is like an expense management company. We use them at Civo, and many more. So highly recommend you checking that out. And I encourage you to try out env0, and you can get started with a free trial and see for yourself how it can transform your operations, especially if you're using like a bunch of tools at once, like Pulumi, Terraform, OpenTofu, and all these other things. They just launched an AI tool as well called Cloud Compass that you can see here on the screen, AI-assisted infrastructure code coverage, audit, and risk mitigation. If you want me to make separate videos on this, let me know in the comment section below, or any other future topics you want me to cover. But yeah, a lot of things happening in the ecosystem. AI is also here now, so very excited how companies use it for good. And thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And I would also love to hear from you what other videos you want me to create, any specific use case around infrastructure as code or cloud native in general. Yeah, check out env0 and have fun. See you in the next one. Bye.